Empire.
Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe to the John Keim Report wherever you get your podcast. You're watching on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can find us there as part of Empire Media. That's AMPIRE. Always much appreciated when you tune in. Don't forget, you can always read my work on ESPN.com. And on Tuesday, you can use ESPN.com for one-stop shopping for all the NFL cuts. I'll be filing stuff on the Commanders and their moves. Every other reporter will do that analysis. You can see who's available, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm going to get into some roster decisions they have to make over the next 24 hours, and then play an interview I had with running back Jarrett Patterson after the third preseason game Saturday night. And just to give you kind of a glimpse into his thinking, I know that a lot of people like him. I mean, he's an easy guy to root for, the size, the hunger he plays with. And just, I think you'll enjoy hearing what he has to say about the situation he's in and how he's approaching it. So stay tuned for that. And the other things to know here, final cuts must be made by 4:00 Tuesday. They're going to have theirs in somewhere between noon and 2:00 by 4:00 Tuesday. Yeah, I said that. So they'll have their final cuts in probably between noon and 2:00 on Tuesday. So that means they're going to start releasing some players on Monday. There's going to be some obvious cuts they can make Monday, and then the tougher ones probably will come a day later. So just so you know that. So right now they're meeting on all these cuts. They're meeting on players. What should they do? How many do you want to keep here? And every discussion I tell guys, we talk in the press box about like, what do you think they're going to do with this guy, that guy? Are they going to keep 10 here, 11 here? What are you going to do? It's the same discussions that they're having internally. And so that's why I think this is all interesting, because, you guys are having the same discussions too, so that's what goes on. And there's going to be some coaches who are going to say, I can't believe they kept this guy at that position over my guy at this position. That's what happens. Anyway, so again, start making some moves Monday, probably Monday afternoon, maybe early Monday evening. Final cuts, a lot of them would be made Tuesday morning. And by noon, we may know all of them. So, follow, again, go to ESPN.com for the moves, Twitter, John_Keim. I will say my son is leaving for college on Tuesday, so I'm going to have a few other things I'm worried about Tuesday morning, helping him get ready and packing, et cetera, and sending him off. So anyway, there you go. Now you know that. So let's get to the positions and just kind of how I see it based on many conversations over the last month, and especially over the last week, just how I think things might go. Because here's the other thing. It's funny because you have to do these 53, and I have my 53 projected roster up on ESPN right now. We're doing this, and I always think like, oh, you want to be right. And then I'm thinking, when mine is turned in, even they don't know what's going to happen. Like they are still they still don't know. So sometimes it's hard to know, but we do it anyway. So let's take a look at it. And I'm going to go fairly quick because some of them this is what it is. Quarterback 2, Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett. I know Jake Fromm did a nice job in the preseason. He's a guy that spent a lot of time on practice squads. I don't think he's going to get picked up. I would imagine he's going to go on there. They're going to want to save that roster spot for another position. Jacoby Brissett is a proven NFL player. It is a very good backup, and he did have a nice job with the Browns last year as a starter. But if nothing else, he's a quality backup. So there we go. There's really not like there's any discussion internally on that. And I know because Fromm had a nice preseason, fans are going to there's no discussion there with that. Jacoby Brissett is the backup. It's not because of salary he had. It's because of the NFL experience he has and what he's proven on there, and some of the limitations for Fromm that would show up more when you're facing starters. Anyway, but he's a good guy to have around. I think Fromm, to be honest, Fromm's the kind of guy who you could see going into coaching at some point with all that he knows and the experience he's had in multiple systems. So he's a good guy to have around, have on the practice squad. There you go. Running back. So I think this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting, because there's going to be 3 guaranteed. Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Chris Rodriguez. Rodriguez has shown that I think he could be a helpful pick for them, picking him up in the 6th round. I like what I've seen from him. So I think the kid can play in this league. Seems to be a good pick. Then it's like, what do you do after that? And the only guy that I'm wondering about is Alex Arma, the fullback. And he also can classify as a tight end, but for this purposes, I'm going to put him here because I'm talking about it first. I would not be surprised if they cut Arma and then pick him back up or put him on the practice squad, but then he's going to play for them because they do want to use a fullback. I don't think, my guess is not as many teams use a fullback anymore. So let's start with that. So the fear of losing him is not that high. And, he's been exposed before a number of times, and he's still coming back here working kind of usually on the practice squad. So the point is, I think that if they want to create a roster spot initially for someone else, they can do it by cutting Arma and then getting him back on to the 53, whether it's after waivers everybody clears this week or maybe next week, but sometime before the game. And I do think he'll have a role in those games as a fullback / tight end. So, but I think that's where it gets interesting. Receiver, because of Kaz Allen's tough night on Saturday, I'm going to say 6. So, and this is where, again, some people are going to be maybe, I don't know about up in arms, but I know that Mitchell Tinsley, Bryson Tremaine, there you got your they have their fans out there. They're not going to get these are guys that Washington likes. They're going to be, I don't see them making the roster because I think it'd be hard to see what do they do, what do they add to this roster that's going to help them now. So you have your first 4, those guys are, we know who they are. Then I have Byron Pringle on there, and then my 6th would be Dax Milne. So, and I can hear the screaming now, well, who's going to return punts? Who's going to, so that's Milne has a role there. If you don't put him on there, who returns punts? They don't have a guy. Pringle has returned. He has yet to return a punt in the NFL. You're not going to try his first punt in the NFL in the season opener against Arizona. And he had a few in college, but not that many. So they don't know what he's doing. That's why they had Allen out there all the time. They want to see, but they also know what they have in Milne. We all know he doesn't make a lot of guys miss. He catches the ball. That fumble really, really hurt Allen because it was their fear. How is he going to handle these situations? And while Ron Rivera tried to downplay it a little bit after the game, and I think Allen will learn from it, I think he can help them in that role eventually. Do you trust him right now to put him back in that same situation against Arizona, 4th quarter of a tie game, making the right decision and securing the ball? That's how you have to look at it. It's not about, can you get 20 yards? You got to start with catching the ball and securing the ball and then go from there. So if you don't have Milne on the roster, who returns your punts? You could get someone from another roster if that guy's available, but we don't know that. So right now, that's where you go. And like with Tremaine and Tinsley, good guys to put on the practice squad, but you have to look at that last spot for receivers is a special teams spot. So how can they help? Those guys they were on some special teams, but they didn't really stand out on special teams. Now, I will say Tremaine gives them something they don't have, which is size at receiver. And Tinsley did a nice job in the preseason. So that's good. But when you're looking at roster spots, you have to look at all the stuff, and the special teams is a key factor. And that's where, again, they know what Milne can do there. We all know what he can do there. He's not going to be dynamic, but he'll secure the ball. Now, if he stops securing the ball, then you have a problem. But I think you keep Kaz Allen around as well to develop as a returner, keep giving him more and more and more reps and practice, just to get him. And then you're going to have to put him back there at some point if the need arises. But that's why I go with Milne as that 6th one, because again, you got to help on special teams, and that's where he is. And the other 2 really would not have that kind of role for them in this situation. That's how I see it. And I do know, I know they like Milne, and I know they like him in various spots. He can play multiple receiver spots. They like him in the red zone. I know we haven't seen enough from him, but I'm just telling you how they think. And I think the special teams and the return ability will be what the deciding factor there. Offensive line, I had 10. So you have the starters, plus then I'm going to put Chris Paul as a backup, Cornelius Lucas as a backup, Ricky Stromberg, Tyler Larson, and Braden Daniels. Now, Stromberg's ability to play guard and center really has elevated his chances to be active on Sunday, and I like what I saw from that kid. But I still think, based on what I've heard, is that they still would like 3 centers on the roster. There's Tyler Larson, an experienced guy. And I think after what they've gone through the last couple of years at that position, they want to make sure that they are covered. I know with Paul can be a backup guard. Lucas is your swing tackle. What happens with Daniels? Well, Daniels did progress over the last week or two. Enough to contribute now? No. But enough for them to say he warrants a roster spot. And that, again, it's what they think about how this, or it's what they think that matters here. And So I don't think they're not in the habit of getting rid of draft picks, and I don't see them doing that here. But like you, I have questions about tackle because you have Leno and Wiley been dealing with some minor health issues over the last couple of weeks. If you only have one tackle that you think can help you, what do you do? So I think I'm going to continue looking at waiver wires, and that's where you get into like a guy like Alex Arma. If you cut him and you kind of maneuver the roster a little bit, you bring another, maybe you have 11 offensive line, which seems like a lot, but you're going to have to get someone in the practice squad that can play that position if you need to in a pinch, because if you don't think Daniels is ready, and really with Daniels, they've always kind of been eyeing him as a guy that they want to develop because of his athletic traits. And, you're looking really more at 2024 for him, unless he has to play now, but I don't know, again, that he'd help you. So that's why I'm still looking for tackles there. Tight ends, I had 3, and that's obviously Logan Thomas, Cole Turner, John Bates. And again, Alex Arma, if when he's on that roster, can kind of play a hybrid fullback tight end role. Curtis Hodges did not do enough to warrant a spot to me. And I think that's where they'll go there. I think the Armani Rogers injury is just, again, I'm not talking he's going to be Travis Kelce, but I think he would have had a good role for them this year. Defensive line, if it's up to me, I'm going 11. I know I asked someone the other day what they thought the toughest call would be, and they said defensive line, because do you keep 11 because if you do, you're keeping most likely 4 linebackers. I'll get into that in a minute. So the 11, that means I'm keeping all the defensive ends. Now, could they trade somebody? We've seen trades around the league. So yeah, of course they could trade someone, because that's what happens in this league, right? I don't know that anybody would, but when you look at the defensive ends, the rotation, Efe Obada is the third end, Casey Tuhill's still in there. So where does James Smith-Williams fit? Now they worked him inside, so he can do that. And I don't see, again, with the rookies, I don't see them cutting KJ Henry or Andre Jones. But I know that was at one point earlier in camp, that was a tight race for them. 4 guys they're looking at maybe for 3 spots. So do you keep 11 or do you keep 10? That's the question. That's what they're trying to decide as I speak. Anyway, if the danger with only keeping 4 linebackers. So the 4 linebackers would be Davis, Barton, Mayo, and Hudson. So does Eifler or Harris warrant a spot on the roster? And that comes down to, again, special teams. And that's where, if you don't have those guys, you like the better linebacker depth you have, typically the better special teams you have. Now, if you have a guy like Andre Jones active, he can help you. He's a big guy who can run. He was a linebacker in college. He's a good athlete. But what if he's not active? Then what happens? Where do you get some of that size on special teams? And I think that's something that will be interesting to watch, because I know that's a consideration for them. I don't know, I'm not sure if some of them are comfortable with only going with 4 linebackers, even though I think one or two of those guys you can get onto special teams, onto practice squad and be okay. But that's part of the decision-making process for them, is what do they do there? And then to me, D-backs are, I think it's 10, and I felt comfortable all along feeling like the corners are, obviously Forbes, Fuller, and I told you in my previous podcast that Fuller says he's going to be fine for the opener. And he when I asked him that, he kind of looked at me like, "What, are you kidding me?" But we don't know, because we haven't seen him, and we didn't know what he was really dealing with until the other day. And it's a knee soreness. But he told me he'd be ready for the opener. So, and they always obviously say that, but sometimes you go by their body language, and the body language is like, come on, dude. And I like Kendall. We get along pretty well. But anyway, there you go. So those, it would be Forbes, Fuller, St. Juste, Danny Johnson, and then Christian Holmes. Holmes is a really good gunner. Hard to see them I'll be honest, if it's up to Nate Catcher, that guy's on the roster, because he's a really good gunner. And then I think the interesting ones would be, do you keep Wild Goose and Castro Fields on the practice squad? They had a couple other D-backs flash Saturday night, but I don't see any of them warranting a roster spot over some of these other positions, because that 11th, if you kept a 6th corner, you're competing with one of the safeties possibly, or with someone at another position. So I have a hard time seeing them do that, but because I think you can get them on the practice squad. And then safety, I have 5, and that's Curl, Forrest, Butler, Reeves, and Quan Martin. So there you go. That's how I see it. And so we'll see how it plays out, because I think this is always interesting. There's always some curveballs thrown in there, and I don't know if there's going to be a big curveball here. It's hard to see what that big curveball would be, but I guess that's why it's something that surprises you because you don't see it coming. But anyway, and then it'll be curious to see. Don't forget, like they can keep adding to this roster. So the initial 53 is not always the final 53 when it comes to, because the key is who's on that roster when it comes to game day. So Wednesday before the first game is really when you have your roster for the season opener. And then obviously it's always fluid, but that's when it is, because when at that point, there you go. Then this is one thing I will say, and like one of the things that's hard with this whole next 2 days is there are a lot of guys who like put a lot of stuff into this job and into being a player. And I look at a guy like Jeremy Reeves and Patterson. I think Patterson's kind of like a little bit of a running back version of Jeremy Reeves, where you're always knocking on that door and it's really hard to kick it in. And Reeves was here in 18, 19, 20, 21, got cut each time in training camp. And then last year finally makes it, and look what happens. It takes time, especially if you're undersized, if you're undrafted, if you're this, you're that. It takes a long time sometimes to get noticed, especially like for Patterson. He's in a crowded room. He's just not better than those ahead of him, but he can put good stuff on film to get noticed by someone else. But it's why this period is, and for some guys, the dream ends over the next 24 hours. Maybe they don't want to keep going on because they don't have that motivation. But if you get put on that practice squad, you're right there. And so it gives them that little bit of fuel that need to get going or to keep going. But it's always, as a reporter, it's always weird because you're calling, you call guys like, hey, did you make it? Did you not? And it's always a tough period for guys. And, this is a big dream for them. And, it can be tough, but it can also be highly, highly rewarding as well.
NFL Sunday Ticket is now on YouTube and YouTube TV, which means that it just got easier to be an NFL fan, even if you live far away. Like maybe you like the Bears, but you're hibernating in Panthers territory. But with NFL Sunday Ticket, your out-of-market team is never more than a short distance away. Specifically, the distance from you to your remote control. NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. Go to youtube.com/presale to get $50 off.
Terms and embargoes apply. Offer ends 9/19. No refund. Subscription auto renews.
College football fans, are you ready for week one? DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking you up with a can't-miss offer to start the season strong. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on college football and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Anything can happen in college football. Your team could go from unranked to dynasty mode in just a couple of years. Change comes fast. The only thing that's a lock is the great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. Life's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KEIM, K-E-I-M. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on college football. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code KEIM. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.com/football for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
You're in a situation like this every year. How do you deal with it? Like, what's it like for you? Because you always go out and show something. Yeah. And it's like there's always a log jam. How do you deal with that?
I mean, I think this just comes with being an undrafted guy. I kind of accepted it. Even when I had my exit meeting with Scott Turner, he even said every year you're going to have to prove it just because, I'm an undrafted guy, which is fine to me. I'm a guy that I want to earn everything. I don't want anything given to me. I think that's just only going to work out for me in the long run.
So what do you hope to show? And like, how do you keep pushing through that? Because it's always right there. So you're always right there. So does that help you keep going? Because you're so close?
Yeah, I think just seeing what I do every time I get an opportunity. In the regular season, preseason, I produce, and I think it just goes to show I can play in this league. Whether it's here or somewhere else. I think that just gives me the confidence. And like I said, talking to guys like, Joe Mixon, a premier back in this league, and saying, that I can be a top back in this league. You know what I'm saying?
Did he tell you that?
He told me that tonight.
Okay.
You know, even he told I remember him talking to me my first year.
That's right, because you guys played a couple years ago.
And he told me that, and he told me that again. And he said, I remember you, like, I love your game, and you know what I'm saying? A guy like that saying that to me, that just keeps me, I'm doing something right.
So when you hear that, what is it like? Because I mean, it tells you you're doing right, but does it boost you? What does it do to you when?
It doesn't boost me because I have the utmost confidence in myself. You know, if I didn't have that confidence in myself, I shouldn't be playing this sport. You know, I believe I can hang with the best in this league, give them more opportunities and the right opportunities. I can show what I really can do in this league.
What do you feel like you're able to show this year? What did you work on coming into this year?
Just playing faster, man. Like, you know, doing the same things, you know, I was doing in college and high school, you know, just playing faster, having fun with the game. And like I said, just, you know, being a student of the game, you know, film, you know, take care of my body and just things like that, you know, just being more explosive, quick. And, you know, pass pro, just becoming an all-around back, you know, so I had to come off on third downs.
What is this period like for you, the waiting and just wondering and trying to do the math and all that? What's it like for you? Do you go crazy?
I don't even think about stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I have a twin brother, James, and his dream is to get opportunity, and he's on the outside looking in, you know what I'm saying? So things could be way worse for me, and I can't, you know, complain in front of him. He don't have a job, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I know that, you know, if I just keep putting good tape, put on tape, like EB said, somebody gonna value it. You know, like I said, whether it's here or somewhere else, somebody gonna value it. And whenever I get the call, whether it's, you know, 53 practice squad, I'm gonna go to work and, you know, make the best of it.
You get a lot of, because you know you're kind of a fan favorite too.
Yeah,
you know that, right?
Yeah, man. I love here, man. I would definitely, you know, want to stay here, you know, be a part of this because it's something special. And man, it's different around here, you know. I always knew Sam since the last preseason he was going to be a guy in this league, and you know now it's his time, and I think he understands that he could be a franchise quarterback, you know, of this team. And I told him that. I was like, man, you can really be a franchise guy, quarterback. We haven't had a guy like that in a long time, and I think he understands it. I'm excited to be a part of it or watch, you know, and EB's an amazing coach. You know, he just pushes you to just be great every day, and that's what we need on the offensive side.
Last one for me, and thanks, guys. What is it you feel like that that you have to show them to get something?
Man, I just gotta whatever, man. I'm just trying to show them that I can help, you know, and whatever that might be, just show them I can be an asset to this team, and you know, help this team win ball games, and that's why I just try to show, you know, this year, every year in practice, you know, and just how I go about it.
Watching you from afar, you're getting better, obviously, to all of us. Like, do you feel like?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm definitely getting better, and that's just the way, you know, I work, you know, off season, you know, in practice, you know, watching guys in practice when I'm not getting reps, like AG and B-Rob, watching film and watching some other guys take reps, getting mental reps, and that's really it. I definitely feel like I'm getting better. The game's slowing down, you know, to me, and I'm excited, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. Whether it's here or somewhere else, like I'm excited.
But it sounds like you'd love it to be here.
Absolutely. I mean, you wouldn't want to definitely play for your hometown team. You know, the team you grew up rooting for. You know, being a fan as a little kid, coming to FedEx. You know, coming training camp. I definitely would love it. You know, but I know the business. You know, I signed up for it, and I'm ready for whatever happens.
And back in the spring when they drafted another running back, was there any urge for you to say, I just don't know? You know, it's so crowded here.
Yeah, I mean, it's crowded everywhere. You know, you're going to have, this is the NFL. You're going to have to compete for a job every year, especially a guy like me, an undrafted guy. You're going to have to earn it every year until you get guaranteed money next to your name, and that's just the business. You know, that's just what comes with the business, and I always been doing that. Like, I always been a worker, a grinder. You know, I earned everything, and I just love the process. Like, you know, I love the process. I love, you know, starting from the bottom and just, you know, climbing and just getting everything I earned.
Hey, Jit, I was wondering, what have you learned most from being under Eric Bieniemy this season?
Yeah, man, EB, man, I'm so grateful I got to, you know, him to coach us, because it's just such so many life lessons, you know. Like, he taught, I mean, not really teach us, but just like he just helps your mindset, you know what I'm saying? Like, every day you gotta, you know, bring your hard hat, you know what I'm saying? And just stuff like always put it on tape, consistent behavior, finishing even when you don't got the ball in your hands, just stuff like that, you know, people don't see, and that's going to help in the long run, you know what I'm saying? I feel like him being here, helped me my career. You know what I'm saying? Just really how to be a pro, and just how to during practice, just how to have that pro mindset. And like I said, I'm glad that he's here and that I got a chance to work with him. And hopefully I'm here, still here with him. But I definitely cherish, my time, him being here if I'm not here.
There is still time for one more family adventure this summer. The country's largest climbing and zipline park is open 7 days a week until Labor Day, with 8 different levels, 16 courses, 250 climbing obstacles, and over 4,000 feet of zip lines. The Adventure Park at Sandy Spring, located in Montgomery County, Maryland, is the perfect place to spend the last few days of summer. Once you're back on the ground, head over to axe throwing and try one of their brand new games. You can play Battleship, Blackjack, throw at traditional targets, or even upload your own images. They are now accepting group and family reservations for this fall. Can't make it out before school is back in session? Not to worry. The Adventure Park is open Friday through Sunday every weekend this fall. To end the summer right, listeners of this show can now get $10 off any ticket by entering the promo code KEIM23DC at checkout. That's KEIM, KEIM 23DC at checkout. There's still time to get outside and join the adventure at theadventurepark.com. That's it for this episode. Thanks to Jarrett for talking to me after the game, and also you heard a question from Bram in there and also Donna Hopkins. And thank you as always for listening. I'll be back with another episode Tuesday evening after the final cuts. Talk to you next time.